Hello everyone, welcome back to Maelstrom Gaming. My name is Malachi Gardner. Today I'm going to be playing through the Passage Through Mirkwood scenario for the Lord of the Rings LCG. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Alright, so I have the Passage Through Mirkwood scenario all set up, and we are ready to play through the campaigns. Just so you are all aware, I've already done a playthrough of the Lord of the Rings LCG, and so like usual, when I've already done a playthrough of something, I'm not actually going to be explaining all of the necessary rules to play the game, and I'm going to assume that you've already either played the game, and I'm going to assume that you already know the game for this playthrough, and I'm just going to explain the new rules relative to the new scenario I'm playing here. So if you do not know how to play the Lord of the Rings LCG, I would recommend that you go ahead and watch my previous playthrough of the game, where I play through a scenario and I go through all of the rules. So if you would like to watch that video, you can click on the icon that should be appearing up here. And if you already do know how to play the game, then this is a video to be able to see the new content that came inside the new revised core set. So we have the Passage Through Mirkwood scenario all set up here as normal, but we do have this additional campaign card here that will only be used when you're playing through the new campaign mode for the scenario. You can still play the scenario normally, just how you used to all those years ago, but if you'd like to play the campaign, you'll just read off the special rules on this card and you'll be able to set it up. So, it says you are playing in campaign mode, set up put Mendor into play. So we have done that right here. So we have this Mendor ally here, which I'll read in just a bit. And it says if Mendor leaves play, the players lose the game. And then there's some flavor text here. King Thranduil has assigned a guide, Mendor, to assist you in your passage through Mirkwood Forest. And on the back of the card, we have some special resolution text for after we win the scenario. So from there, we can just go ahead and finish setting up. From there, you just go ahead and finish setting up the scenario like you would for a normal playthrough of Passage Through Mirkwood. So I'll read the flavor text here for flies and spiders. It says, you are traveling through Mirkwood Forest, carrying an urgent message from King Thranduil to Lady Galadriel of Lorien. As you move along the dark trail, the spiders gather around you. Set up. Search the encounter deck for one copy of Forest Spider, which is this nasty card right here, and one copy of the Old Forest Road, which is this quite pleasant card here. And then you add them to the staging area, and then you shuffle the encounter deck. So I've already done all of that, so we can go on to the next stage here, flies and spiders. And so this requires 8 progress tokens, and it says the nastiest things they saw were the cobwebs. Dark, dense cobwebs with threads extraordinarily thick, often stretched from tree to tree or tangled in the lower branches on either side of them. There were none stretched across the path, but whether because some magic kept it clear, or for whatever other reason, they could not guess. And that is an excerpt from The Hobbit, which is very fitting for this scenario. Final thing we need to do is actually go ahead and draw our starting hand. And so let's go ahead and draw 6 cards here. Alright, so we have Blade of Gondolin, 2 copies of Favor the Lady, Unexpected Courage, Hasty Stroke, and the Gladriam's Greeting. So we have, oh man, this is tough, because I like some of the cards in here, but I do not like that there's no allies. Well, let's run with it. I do really like that we have Unexpected Courage here, and then Hasty Stroke is also going to be very useful. So, let's just keep this here. So now, with that, we are actually all set up, and so we can start the first round by doing the resource phase. So everyone's going to get a resource, and we're going to draw an additional card, and it's Gandalf. So that's always nice to have. So let's go ahead and read through some of these cards here. And so we have 29 threat, because Legolas, Eowyn have 9 threat each, and then Gimli has 11. So 29 threat is it's not too much, not too bad to start out with, but of course we don't really like it to get too high. Alright, so Legolas here has 1 willpower, 3 attack, 1 defense, and 4 health, which is a nice stat line, good for attacking. Then he has the ranged keyword, which means that you can have him attack enemies that are engaged with other players, but we actually do not have any other players in the game, so that ranged keyword really doesn't do much of anything, although certain cards do reference that. Then, as a response, after Legolas participates in an attack that destroys an enemy, place 2 progress tokens on the current quest. So that's very useful. If he defeats an enemy, we get to immediately just place 2 progress tokens on the quest. Eowyn has 4 willpower, 1 attack and defense, and then 3 hit points. And as an action, you can discard 1 card from your hand to give Eowyn +1 willpower until the end of the phase. This effect may be triggered by each player once each round. So that can be quite useful, especially if you're playing in a 4-player game. You can go all the way up to 8 willpower. But even in a solo game, just discarding a card to give her a total of 5 willpower is quite nice. Finally, we have Gimli here, and we have 2 for all of his stats for willpower, attack, and defense, 5 hit points, and then Gimli gets +1 attack for each damage token on him. So the more he is damaged, the more he goes into some sort of rage and is able to do a lot of damage. And then finally we have Mendor, who's 1 of every stat, and then 3 health. And then he also has a range keyword. The first player gains control of Mendor, so in a solo game we are just always going to be the first player, so we'll just always have control over him. And response, after a quest card is defeated, ready Mendor, and then each player draws 1 card. If Mendor leaves play, remove him from the game, and also, based off of this card here, if he leaves play, we will lose the game. So, really want to make sure he stays alive. Some of the other cards we have out here. The Forest Spider has 2 willpower, 2 attack, 1 defense, 4 health, and then Forced. After Forest Spider engages a player, it gets +1 attack until the end of the round. And then the Old Forest Road, which has 1 threat, needs 3 progress tokens to be defeated, and response, after you travel to Old Forest Road, the first player may choose and ready 1 character they control. This is one of the nicest locations inside the entire game. It really doesn't generate much threat, it has a pretty low value for progress tokens, and you get to ready 1 of your characters after you travel there. It's really, when this card comes up, it's super nice because it's just very helpful and is not at all, and it just allows you to do more stuff, and so it's really great. Okay, then going through our hand here, see what we can play with the Blade of Gondolin, which is actually the only tactics card we have in our hand. It costs 1 resource, it's an attachment, it says attached to a hero restricted. Attached hero gets +1 attack when attacking an orc. And then response, after attached hero attacks and destroys an enemy, place 1 progress token on the current quest. So this ability is very similar to Legolas's ability, except it's a little bit weaker, but giving this to Legolas means that whenever he defeats an enemy, you get to place 3 progress tokens on the quest, which is just amazing. Then the Gladrium's Greeting action costs 3 resources, and as an action, reduce 1 player's threat by 6, or reduce each player's threat by 2. Okay? The Favor of the Lady, which we have 2 of, just costs 2, it's an attachment, you attach to a hero, and then attached hero gets +1 willpower. It's a very simple card, but is pretty nice to have. And then Hasty Stroke costs 1 resource, and then response, cancel a shadow effect just triggered during combat. Unexpected Courage, which is an amazing card. You get cost 2 to attach this to a hero. Exhaust, as an action, exhaust Unexpected Courage to ready attached hero. So I'm really hoping I can put this on Gimli so that he can either quest then attack, or quest then defend, or defend then attack. It's really nice to be able to take 2 actions with 1 hero in a round. And then finally, Gandalf here costs 5, but it is a neutral card, so those resources can come from any of my heroes. He has 4 in all of his stats, including health, and then at the end of the round, discard Gandalf from play. But we do have a responsibility that says, after Gandalf enters play, choose 1, draw 3 cards, deal 4 damage to 1 enemy in play, or reduce your threat by 5. So Gandalf is a really nice card to have in your back pocket, and then you can just put him down whenever you need him most. He'll stick around for a turn, do some really great stuff, maybe take out, the spider here, or if you have a troll, you can do about half. You can take out half of the troll's health or whatever. It's really useful to have Gandalf in your hand, but unfortunately we won't be able to play that right now. So I think that I would like to get the Blade of Gondolin. So I'm going to play that, use Legolas's resource, and put that on Legolas. So he'll have +1 attack against orcs, which unfortunately is not going to do too much in this scenario since it's mostly spiders. There's a couple orcs, but not too many. But whenever he defeats an enemy, he'll get a total of 3 progress tokens and be able to put those on a quest card. Then, I think I'd like to save it for Unexpected Courage to be able to put that on Gimli next turn and have him do extra stuff, which will be great. But saving this resource will also allow me to play Hasty Stroke if some terrible shadow effect comes up later on in the turn. Alright, and then I don't have any other cards I can play right now for Gimli's resource, so I'm just going to save that up. I think I'm going to commit Eowyn and Gimli to the quest, so that'll give me a total of 6 willpower. I could put Mendor on as well. Let's see. I think I'll save Mendor just in case something weird happens. And then I could discard a card from my hand to give Eowyn +1 willpower, but I think I'll wait on that, so I'll just draw a card, and it is Caught in a Web, which is a really nasty card. So it says, when revealed, the player with the highest threat attaches this card to one of their heroes. Counts as a condition attachment with the text, attached hero is not ready during the refresh phase unless you pay 2 resources from that hero's pool. So this is really quite nasty. And so I will have to put this on one of my heroes. Now, I think I may actually just change my plans and put Unexpected Courage on whoever I give Caught in a Web to. Yeah, so they don't ready from their, during the refresh phase, they don't ready automatically, but Unexpected Courage will allow me to force a ready, so that will kind of negate that. Oh man, that's really annoying, especially to get this early on in the game. So, let us go ahead and put this on... I don't know, let's put it on Gimli, I guess. Alright, so then we have 3 threat here, and we have 6 willpower, so we'll be placing a 3 progress token on Flies and Spiders. And then I'm going to go ahead and travel to the Old Forest Road, and I'll ready Gimli. And then I will go ahead and I can optionally engage Forest Spider, but he's going to engage me automatically anyway because he's threat of 25, so we'll just do that. And then he will get +1 attack until the end of the round because he just engaged me. So he's got 3 attack for this turn. So I think what I'm going to do, let's see, so 3, 4, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and actually just leave his attack unblocked. If a nasty shadow effect comes up, I'll just use this. But otherwise, I will actually allow the damage to go to Gimli, and then he'll actually be able to have a big attack, and we'll be able to hopefully take out that Forest Spider. Okay, so the Necromancer's Reach, no special shadow effects there, which is great. So that's going to be 3 damage to Gimli. Alright, he still has 2 health left, and then he's going to get a total of +3 attack because of his 3 wounds. And then I'm going to have him attack the Forest Spider, and by himself he actually can take it out, because he's going to do 5 damage, and he only has 1 defense, so he's just going to be toast. Alright, then, actually, it is definitely going to be overkill, but I will also have Legolas commit to the quest, to attack, because that'll allow him to place 3 more progress tokens for contributing to defeating the Forest Spider, even though it was all overkill. And those 3 progress tokens will go onto the Forest Road, which will discard it. Okay, so now we'll refresh all of our cards, all of our cards except for Gimli. So he will not refresh because of Caught in the Web. So then we will go on to the next round. We'll increase my threat, and hopefully we'll be able to do some cool stuff next turn. It was actually a pretty good first turn. Yes, Caught in the Web is really nasty to get on your first turn, but I think we will be able to deal with it, and we've cleared all the cards in the staging area, which is just great. Alright, so your card is Quick Strike, which is a nice card. It has cost of 1, and as an action, exhaust a character you control to immediately declare it as an attacker, and resolve its attack against any eligible enemy target. So if you're engaged with an enemy, you can play this card, have your character attack the enemy before the enemies get to attack, which is just great. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and play Unexpected Courage. It's going to cost me 2 resources, and I'll play on Gimli, and we'll then ready him by exhausting Unexpected Courage. Okay, so then Gimli is readied and is able to do stuff. Alright, so I can't really do anything here. I could have played Gandalf, but I do think playing Gandalf right now wouldn't actually help me that much, and I need to play Unexpected Courage to be able to ready Gimli, so I think that's the good move there. Alright, so I'll have Eowyn and Mendor quest, And you know what? I'll also have Gimli quest, because we'll actually just be able to ready him if we're able to clear this quest card. So we'll see if we do that. And it's Black Forest Bats. So 1 attack, 1 threat, 0 defense, 2 health. When revealed, each player must choose one character currently committed to the quest and remove that character from the quest. The chosen character is not ready. So I am actually quite glad that I had Mendor commit to the quest, because I'm just going to remove him, and that's only 1 willpower being lost. So we still have 6 willpower, and then the forest bats here only have 1 threat, so I'm still placing 5 progress tokens on the card there, which actually allows me to clear that, because that's 8. So then, since we clear this card, we'll go on to the next one, but because of Mendor's ability says, after a quest card is defeated, ready Mendor, then each player draws 1 card. So we'll ready Mendor and draw a card. And it is Citadel Plate, which actually is the perfect card to draw right now. So we have 4 resources here, and it's a tactics card, which is quite expensive, but we already have a decent amount of tactics resources saved up from Gimli and Legolas, so that shouldn't be too much of a big deal. And you attach it to a hero, it's restricted. Attached hero gets plus 4 hit points, which is great, which allows Gimli to just continue to tank damage and get more and more powerful. Alright, so 2A, a fork in the road. As you move through Mirkwood, hounded by spiders, the forest path forks before you. Alright, 2B, so it only has 2 progress tokens that need to be placed on this, so this should be a pretty quick one here. It says, unsure of what lies ahead, but spurred by the urgency of your message, you choose a path and proceed. Force. When you defeat the stage, proceed to one of the 2 A Chosen Path stages at random. So there's 2 A Chosen Paths. One of them involves a boss fight, one of them involves a lot of questing. So we don't know which one we're actually going to have to encounter, but it'll be randomly chosen, which is actually a pretty neat thing. It allows for some replayability in this scenario, because you're not sure what the final stage is going to be. Is it going to be a boss fight, or is it just going to be more questing? Which is kind of cool. Alright, so then the Black Forest Bats are going to engage us, and I think that I'm going to go ahead and block this attack with Mendor here. So he has 1 defense. Alright, so it says deal 1 damage to each character the defending player controls. Deal 2 damage instead if the attack is undefended. Okay, well, I am glad I did defend there. Alright, so we're doing 1 damage to each character I control. So 1 damage to Mendor, which again, if he takes 3 damage and dies, we lose the game. Alright, so then 1 damage to Gimli, who's now at 4 health, so who has now 4 damage, so he has 1 hit point left, which is not great. We will hopefully just be able to play the Citadel Plate on him next round, which should be good. Okay, so now Legolas is going to do exhaust and do 3 damage to the Black Forest Bats, who have 0 defense and only 2 health, so they are toast. And then we'll go ahead and place 3 progress tokens on Fork in the Path, which only needs 2 to be placed on it, so we actually get to go through that one, which we're really just plowing through these. So now we have the 2 A Chosen Path cards, and they both have the same flavor text. The trail winds into one of the darkest, most tangled parts of the forest. You sense that a foul, dark presence is haunting you, and you move quickly in an attempt to avoid its evil. So now we'll just go ahead and shuffle these 2 cards up here, and hopefully we'll get a good one. Alright, so don't leave the path. Alright, so this one has 0 progress tokens that we placed on it. Shadows grow darker, and you realize that a foul presence is aiming to draw you from the path. You must defeat it to pass this way. When revealed, each player must search the encounter deck and discard powerful 1 spider card of their choice and add it to the staging area. The players must find and defeat Ungoliant's spawn to win the game. Okay, so this is the boss fight one. Let's just take a quick look at the other one. Beorn's Path is the other option here. You attempt to follow a secret hidden trail to avoid the enemy. Players cannot defeat the stage while Ungoliant's spawn is in play. If the players defeat the stage, they have won the game. So this one's a lot more peaceful, and you can just go through this path, and after you complete it, you do win the game. Although, if Ungoliant's spawn is in play, you can't actually win the game. So this one is a little bit more straightforward. We just need to go ahead and we can put any spider card into play, but we can't win the game until we kill Ungoliant Spawn, which just happens to be the next card on the deck. So this is the card that makes the most sense to put into play. And actually, if we had gotten Bjorn's Path, this card still would have been the first card we draw, and so then we would have had to fight this and get the 10 progress tokens in order to win the game. So we actually got kind of lucky there. So let's go ahead and read this card. Alright, so we have 3 threat, 5 attack, 2 defense, 9 health. This is a pretty beefy spider here. And then it says, when revealed, each character currently committed to the quest gets -1 willpower until the end of the phase. So actually, this is a really great time to draw Ungoliant Spawn. There's not many good times to draw Ungoliant Spawn, but this is actually one of the best ways of doing it because it's spawned at the end of the round. We've already gone through the encounter phase and the staging phase, so this when revealed effect doesn't do anything because we're not calculating willpower right now, and we don't have to factor in the massive 3 threat there, and we don't have to engage with the spider because we've already gone through the engagement phase. And the spider in Ungoliant Spawn is not going to attack us this round because we've already done the combat phase. So this is a really good time to spawn this card and to go into this stage here because we have a whole turn to be able to prepare for fighting this spider. In fact, our threat's only at 30, so we actually could spend 2 turns just beefing up and preparing for the fight before engaging the spider. So this is really great. So let's go ahead and shuffle this deck here, and hopefully we'll just be able to take out Ungoliant Spawn without too many difficulties. Shuffled up there, so let's ready all of our characters, except for Gimli, unfortunately. So it's not ready Gimli, but we can just exhaust Unexpected Courage again to ready him, so that's not too much of a big deal. Okay, so then we will increase our threat by 1 and give everyone a resource. Alright, Gimli will get a 3. Okay, and then we're at 31 threat, and let's draw a card. Alright, so we have Lorien Guide. So this costs 3 spirit resources, 1 willpower, 1 attack, 0 defense, 2 health. And then response after Lorien Guide commits to a quest, place 1 progress token on the active location. So that's a really nice card. I do enjoy that quite a bit. Okay, so now we have a choice to make. So first off, let's just go ahead, exhaust Unexpected Courage, and ready Gimli. Although we could spend 2 resources to ready Gimli now if we really needed to. Alright, so we have a couple options here. First, we could play Citadel Plate, like we were originally going to do. It would cost 4 resources. We would be able to give this to Gimli, and then he'd be able to take more damage, and everything would be great. Alternatively, we could play Gandalf, which would cost 5 resources, and it would leave us with 1 resource. And we could choose whether we want to leave a tactics resource or a spirit resource, but we'd have 1 resource left after playing this. And then we'd be able to choose one of the 3 abilities here. Actually, if you think dealing 4 damage to the spider is a pretty good option. So we go ahead and play Gandalf, we do 4 damage to the spider, reducing her down to 5 health, and then Gandalf could take the hit from Ungoliant Spawn, and with his 4 defense, only 1 attack would actually come through, only 1 damage would be dealt to him, and then Gimli and Legolas would be able to deal a combined total of, let's see, 9 damage, minus 2, so 7 damage, and then we actually be able to defeat the spider. So that could work. I actually just realized that last turn when we cleared that second stage, we were actually supposed to draw an additional card from Mendor, so let's draw that. And Strength of Will, it costs 0. Response, after you travel to a location, exhaust a spirit character to place 2 progress tokens on that location. Okay, pretty nice card, although I don't think we're going to need it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and exhaust Unexpected Courage to ready Gimli. And then I will spend 3 of Gimli's resources, 1 of Legolas' resources, and 1 of the other Legolas resource. So we'll just have 1 resource on Eowyn, and that would allow us to be able to play Hasty Stroke to negate any nasty shadow effects. Spend those 5 resources. We'll play Gandalf, and I'm going to choose the deal 4 damage option, so I'll do 4 damage to Ungoliant Spawn, which will reduce her to 5 health. And then I will go ahead and... Now, Gimli does have 1 health left, so this could be kind of dangerous for Gimli. If he dies here, that would be very bad, especially since we're playing campaign mode. If a hero dies, we can no longer use that hero for the entirety of the campaign. Now, this is only a 3 scenario long campaign, so it's not a bit huge, as big of a deal, but I'm only using stuff for the core set, so we only have 12 heroes to choose from, and if one of our 12 heroes dies, that's kind of not great. Also, if one of your heroes dies, you have to record that on the campaign sheet, and in addition to not being able to use them, you also have to increase your starting threat by 1. So instead of starting with 29 threat, we start with 30, which means we have 1 fewer turn in the game to win. Alright, so that's not something we want to happen. So let's try and make sure Gimli doesn't die. So let's go ahead and exhaust Mendor and Eowyn. And then, let's go ahead and discard the Favor of the Lady, just to get 1 extra willpower just in case. And so that'll be a total of 6 willpower. And then I'll have Gandalf to block Ungoliant Spawn's attack. And then Gimli and Legolas will be able to finish off the spider. And so let's go ahead and see what happens. Alright, so it's Forest Gate, 2 threat, 4 progress tokens can need to be placed on this, and says, response after you travel to Forest Gate, the first player may draw 2 cards. So, this is the first scenario that you play when you play Lord of the Rings. This is the suggested introductory scenario, and so that's why there are a couple of cards that are actually kind of helpful to you, like Forest Gate, like the Old Forest Road. That way, it kind of just eases you into it a little bit, which is good because Lord of the Rings can be very difficult at times. So, now let's go ahead and calculate the threat in willpower. So we have 5 threat out here, and then we have a total of 6 willpower, 4 from Eowyn, 1 from Mendor, and then 1 from the discarded Favor of the Lady. So we have 6. So we would be able to place 1 progress token on the quest card, but this quest card actually doesn't need any progress tokens, so we can't put any there. Alright, so then let's go ahead and travel to the Forest Gate. We'll draw 2 cards, maybe it'll be something useful, and it's actually Feint, which costs 1 resource. As combat action, choose an enemy engaged with the player. That enemy cannot attack that player this phase. And then Veteran Axe Hand costs 2 red resources, 0 willpower, 2 attack, 1 defense, and 2 health. Very nice, just get a boost to attack. But this card, if I had this in my hand at the beginning of the round, I actually would have just left Legolas with the resource, and then I would just play this, which means that Gandalf doesn't even need to block Ungoliant Spawn's attack, because Ungoliant Spawn can't attack. But we can't do that now, so let's go ahead and move on to the next phase. Ungoliant Spawn will not engage with us this round, because she has a threat engagement cost of 32, and I have a threat of 31, but I can optionally engage 1 enemy, and I will go ahead and optionally engage Ungoliant Spawn, give her the Shadow card, and I will go ahead and exhaust Gandalf to block. Alright. Go ahead and draw this here. It's Forest Spider. Defending a player must choose and discard 1 attachment they control. I'm going to just go ahead and discard Unexpected Courage. It doesn't really matter at this point because I think we'll just be able to win the game. But if I didn't want to do that, I could have just played Hasty Stroke and ignored that Shadow effect. But let's go ahead and just carry on. So I'm going to go ahead and exhaust Gimli, who is going to do 2 damage plus 4 because he has 4 damage tokens. So it's going to be a total of 6 damage. Then Legolas will contribute 3. So that's going to be 9 damage. 2 of those are blocked because of the Ungoliant Spawn's 2 defense, and so a total of 7 damage will be dealt to Ungoliant Spawn, which will reduce her down to -2 health. So we actually were able to win the scenario in, 3 turns. So that is really quite fast. Yeah, not very long there. We kind of breezed through that, which, I mean, nothing really too terrible happened to our heroes going into the next scenario, which is good. Nothing really too terrible happened to our heroes. Gimli was almost dead. He had 1 health left, so he could have died, but he didn't, which is very good, because if he had died, that would have made some of the other scenarios quite difficult, because the next scenario, along the Anduin scenario, it's very nice to have Gimli for that scenario, as you'll see when I play that coming up. Alright, so now, let's go ahead and get rid of Caught in the Web. Alright, so resolution text says, each player earns 1 copy of the Mendor Support Boon card. Add earned cards to the campaign pool. If Stage 3 was Baron's Path, add the Ungoliant Spawn Burden card to the campaign pool. If Stage 3B was Don't Leave the Path, which it was, add the Lingering Venom Burden card to the campaign pool. The forest is dangerous, but that was beyond what one might expect to find. Mendor seems shaken. I fear something is not right in the land. I shall continue to travel with you. Alright, so we add a couple of cards to the campaign pool. First off, Mendor Support. So it costs 0 resources, and it's an event that says only one copy of Mendor Support can be played each round. Action. Mendor gains +2 willpower, attack, and defense until the end of the round. So this is kind of an unreliable card. You can't really be relying on this because there's only one copy in your 50-card deck, but it's kind of nice just to be able to play this card down and have Mendor be quite tough for one single round. Alright, then let's take a look at the burden cards here. So there are 2 different ones it could be. So we have the Lingering Venom card, which says Surge. 1 revealed. Each player must choose either exhaust each damage character you control, or deal 2 damage to either hero you control with the most damage on it. Both of those options are terrible, and the card has Surge, so this is really nasty. As a shadow effect, it says exhaust each damage character you control. That's, yeah, I do not like that. But we could have gotten Ungoliant's Swarm. And so this has 3 threat points, 2 attack, 2 defense, and 5 health. Forced. After Ungoliant's Swarm engages a player, that player must choose and exhaust 2 characters they control. Shadow. Put Ungoliant's Swarm into play, engage with you. So these are both terrible cards. Honestly, I'm not entirely certain like which one is worse, but I don't know. I think we will be able to deal with it. So looking at the cards that we gain, so Mendor and Mendor's Support versus Lingering Venom, I do think that this is about equal. So we gain these 2 cards to help us out, and then this card to hinder us. So I think it's, I don't know, it feels pretty balanced, I suppose. But I do hope that in the next couple of scenarios in this campaign, we don't draw this card, because that would be very nasty. And so then, next time, we'll be playing through the next scenario in the Mirkwood Paths Campaign, and that will be along the Anduin scenario, which is the best scenario in the core game, and it is just a really great scenario. It's very fun, and I'm really looking forward to playing that with you all. You still have a battle with a fearsome troll to look forward to in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it was helpful to you. It got you excited to try out the campaign mode, which again will be free at some point in the near future on Fantasy Flight's website, just as a PDF. Now you can print off and play, which will be quite nice, and that way you don't need to spend the $70 to buy the new core set. You can just print off the cards you need. Please consider liking this video, subscribing to Maelstrom Gaming to see more content just like this, such as the second part in the Mirkwood Paths campaign. And until next time, happy gaming!